Yes. Friends, it's a pleasure to welcome you all for this special webinar, Sunday webinar, Bindas, a webinar series exclusively on Indian accounting standards. We are going to dwell upon every Ind AS in detail, practically, and also will be explaining some of the interesting aspects in Indian accounting standards relating to practical annual reports, especially with respect to the latest disclosures made by listed companies. In this journey, this chariot will be driven by a Sarathi, a well-known and the most experienced coveted professional among the fraternity of chartered accountants, CA R. Subramaniam ji. On behalf of every one of you, I take the privilege in also welcoming and to this special edition of Bindas webinar series, which will be done as a duo, like Lakshmikant Pyarelal will be hosting this program every Sunday. Friends, let us invite CR Subramaniam ji on board, and I'll hand over the session in the safe hands of RSG. Over to you.
Yes. Okay. Good morning to all of you. Today, the session is related party disclosure. All we have a lot of doubts in related party disclosures, whether it is in the accounting standards or other accounting standards, who are all related parties, whether the disclosure is compulsory or not, who has to find out who is a related party, whether the management has to give the list or I have to find out who are all the, as a statutory auditor, to find out who are all the related party disclosures, whether all the related party disclosures which requires, whether all the related party transactions, whether it requires the disclosures, or is there any exemptions? Is there any exemption? One, whether the director of the company, whether he is a related party or not, and director wife, he is also working in the concern in the company, whether she is the related party or not, who are all the related party, and what is the difference between the related party and the relative, what is the scope of this in the accounting standards, what are all the transactions it covers. There are a lot of doubts, not only in the accounting standards, even in our earlier accounting standard also. We have a lot of accounting standards, we have a lot of doubts. Today, Mr. Gopalakrishnan, consented to discuss on this in the accounting standard on related party disclosures. I have a lot of questions to ask him. So I have noted certain questions. So we will ask, and we will also discuss. Today, we will be thorough about in the accounting standards 24 related party disclosures. We will be thorough. In that way, he is going to take that class, and I am also going to question him lot of questions. I noted lot of number of questions, almost 10 questions I have noted. Let us go into the presentations. I request Gopalakrishna Raju, sir, I will ask the first two questions. You are talking about related party. Who is a related party in the accounting standards? Who is a related party? Yes, sir.
Well, before I go to this, hope my screen is shared to you. Is my screen shared? You are able to see the screen, RSG?
Yes.
Very
Yes,
good.
I am able to see.
Very good. Now, before I go into this, I want to make one observation, RSG. That is, related party transactions are not a prohibited transaction.
Correct.
Let me make this point very clear. So there is no word called prohibition. Now, when I start a business, I'm a young, energizing entrepreneur. I wish to be a successful entrepreneur. I'm starting. Now, who will support me? My related party, my family members will support me. So, is it wrong? No. Traditionally, only family members, related party only has been supporting the business. Maybe over a period of time, the I will be self-sufficient. So let me be very clear about this part that related party transactions are not prohibited. Then related party transactions have to be disclosed. Why? Because when I make purchase from my subsidiary and I sell to another subsidiary, technically I am not making any transaction. And again, that another subsidiary will buy from me and will sell. So the three companies, I can make purchase and sale entry, and my profitability will go up. But whether I am actually doing or earning any income, no. So therefore, these related party transactions have to be disclosed to understand what are internal transactions, what are external transactions. This is fundamental. Now let me go into the first question. Indian Accounting Standard 24. This is one standard which speaks about, hope it is visible. I'll take you to one interesting thing about 24. If you look at this, yes, I'll take you to an Ashoka Chakra. Okay. This Ashoka Chakra has actually 24 spokes. And this chakra depicts the Dharma Chakra. So it speaks about the human being's nature. Human being's nature. The 12 stages of human being is only depicted. So very similar to Ashoka Chakra. So 24 spokes. This standard is Ind AS 24 is very ideal number. That 24 years refers to dharma. Whatever you do with your related party, disclose. That's it. And this standard is a disclosure standard. It is not a accounting recognition standard. How do you measure a transaction? How do you recognize a transaction? No, it doesn't speak about measurement. It doesn't speak about recognition. It only speaks about disclosure. And always make one point very clear that accounting standard, especially Indian accounting standard, the business is always first. Accounting is next, but disclosure is must. I repeat again, disclosure is must. And that is where we start with this first point called the related party. I want to make one more interesting comparison that this related party is a term defined in Companies Act, is a term defined in Insolvency Bankruptcy Code, is also defined in the Indian Accounting Standard 24. Okay, now related party, there are two things. One is related party in relation to a company. Now we are going to discuss about Indian Accounting Standard disclosures for a company, disclosures for an entity. So an entity may be related to an entity. An entity may be related to an individual also. So that is where your Companies Act 276 and 277. I'll just take you to that definition here. Please look at this. This is Companies Act 276 and 277. Look at this. Related party in reference to a company. 277, relative in reference to any person, that is individual. So there they come. So it is not that the definition is only in Ind AS 24. It is also there in Companies Act. Now please come to the Insolvency Bankruptcy Code. They are also related party in relation to a corporate debtor. Corporate debtor is a company. 24A, it is section 5, 24 capital A. Related party in relation to an individual. Now, here, with respect to the 520, with respect to para number 9, this is para number 9. Here, the related party they have discussed again in two contexts with reference to a person, with reference to an entity. They identify three categories with reference to person, and with respect to entity, they identify 8 transactions. So, 8 type of related party relationships. So, I want to make one observation. First thing before you go to a transaction, first establish relationship, whether you have a related party, then go to whether transaction is there, yes or not. So first whether relationship is there, next is whether transaction is there or not, third is what is the quantum of transaction, whether you have to disclose line by line transaction, summary of transaction. So these are the 3 stages. Number one, who. So that is why I would have mentioned like this: who is a related party, what transaction you have to disclose, how do you identify those transactions, individually or summary, which are the transactions, whether material or immaterial transaction, and why do you need to disclose? That is fundamental. Why do you need to disclose? This question I've already answered. Only when you disclose the related party transaction, you will know what quantum is internal, what quantum is external. So over to RSG.
Yes. So you have very clearly discussed the related party transactions as per Companies Act. What is a definition? As an entity as a whole, as a persons. So person, there are 3 type of transactions. Entity, we talked about almost 8 type of a transaction. So therefore, any transactions with related party is not a prohibited one. And this accounting standard is not at all discussing about the measurement. It always discuss about the disclosure. So you have to disclose the transaction. Therefore, you are not required to go through whether the transaction is at arm's length price or not. No doubt, you have to go through as per the domestic transaction transfer pricing method or international transaction. Yes, you have to go through whether it is at arm's length price or not. But according to this standard, you are not required to go through it. You are required to disclose in your disclosure who are all the transactions, which type of your transactions, all you have to disclose in your financial statements. That is this required. Sir, you are also talking about the related party transactions. And please tell me, related party transaction and relatives, is there any differences, or whether these are all one and the same? Yes, sir.
Definitely no. I will again repeat, I will relate to the Companies Act. If you look at 277, this is section 2 within bracket 77. Relative is always with reference to an individual, to a person, the relative. So we never say, okay, Mr. Subramaniam is my brother. So I will not say Mr. Subramaniam is a related party. I'll only say the correct English is Mr. Subramaniam is a relative to me.
Relative.
That is how the English context is also designed. But this is a Companies Act. Very clearly, they have brought out the subtle difference. But I want to make the connect between the 524A related party in relation to an individual. So there they use a word relative in the subsections. Okay, in the subclasses they use it. So relative is always with respect to an individual living person, but a related party is always in relation to an entity. So that is the fundamental connect. I want to make one observation here. Now, please look at the para number 9, where they say related party who is a person or an entity. So there they say who is a person. They have three subclasses are there. Similarly, an entity. So a related party can be a person or an entity. Now, this is one more dimension is there with respect to this. A related party is a person who is related to a reported entity, and related party is a close member of that person's family. Okay, so close member. So this is one more step. So my good friend was making one point. So if Mr. Subramaniam is a director in a company, Subramaniam is a related party. Now, Subramaniam's sister, Subramaniam's spouse, Subramaniam's daughter, so they are close member of that person's family. So I'll come to that. So it is also the next step is also relative. So it is not only the first connect is the related party. The second step connect is also a related party. Quite a wide context. So that is why this is one standard which generally, for example, if it is a Ind AS 16, property, plant and equipment, so they speak about the recognition of a transaction. So it is called a identification of the asset or a transaction, then measurement, recognition, disclosure. So I used to call it as IMRD. So identification, measurement, recognition and disclosure. In this standard, we are not bothered about the recognition and measurement. We are only bothered about I and D. Identification of the relationship, disclosure of the relationship. We never measure it. Already transaction is done. We are only going to collate the transaction. I repeat the word, collate the transaction. So over to Subramaniam ji.
Yes. Say in simple words, relative means it is a family members related, whereas related party means it is an entity level. So correct, sir. In short,
Correct.
so that we have to find out whether it is a relative or a related person. So these two terms are totally is different terms, and accordingly you have to decide. Sir, we are also discussing about related party transaction. So, related party transaction, whether buying and selling of the goods or property, or leasing out to the property, or getting a salary from the company by the director or director relative. So, these are all covered. So, what do you mean by related party transaction? What are all the transaction is covered under the standard? Whether is there any exemptions? Sir, for director salary, you are not required to report. Is there any exemptions? Sir, these are all not a related party. This is only a related party. Is there any exemptions? Can you please explain what are all the transactions that will be considered as a related party transaction? Yes, sir.
Good. So now once you have identified the relationship, if you, I'll go to the again I'll always go to the scope of the standard. Please look at the scope. It is only A, B, C, D, only four things. Please look at A. First, you have to identify the relationship. Once you identify relationship, now what are the transactions? Now, sometimes what will happen, there won't be transaction, relationship alone will be there. Especially the holding company, subsidiary company. Holding and subsidiary, I would have invested in the subsidiary. That's all. That was the only transaction at the beginning. After that, 7 years, 8 years, no transaction between holding and subsidiary. Technically, zero transaction. But whether I have to disclose, I will come for the last part. Okay, so the first thing is identify relationship and then identify transactions. Now, what transaction you have to disclose the next part. So let me come to what is meant by a transaction. Now look at this. A related party transaction is transfer of resources. It can be money, it can be goods, it can be services, it can even be obligations. For example, subsidiary company has taken a loan. Subsidiary company has taken a loan, but holding company will say, in case subsidiary company doesn't pay, holding company will pay. In case subsidiary company doesn't deliver, holding company will deliver. This is called obligation. I would have given a letter. There is no transaction in books of accounts. No journal entry in books of accounts. Only a letter is given. I repeat, only a letter is given. A commitment is given. An obligation has been entangled by the entity. So, a related party transaction is a transfer of resource, money, goods, transfer of services. Now, here, transfer of services, I want to make one observation, very, very important observation. For example, a subsidiary is a new company. They may need some help. What kind of help they may need? Some resources in the form of services. So I will send from the holding company few employees to go and work there, but their salary will be paid by me. The salary will be paid by the holding company. Holding company will pay the salary. Services will be done at the subsidiary company. Oh, so now in my holding company books only salary will be debited, but you will not work here. So then I have to say, no, out of this much salary pay, this much amount of salary. So 20% of salary belongs to payment with respect to services made for a related party. This is what the disclosure has to be. So related party transaction is transfer of resource, transfer of service, obligation between the reporting entity and the related party. The most important is whether there is a price is charged or not. Sometimes I may get the money. So that is where my good friend RSG was mentioning about transfer pricing. Sometimes I may give the resource, I may get the transfer price for that. I may be compensated for that. Sometimes I will not be compensated. So even then, it is a related party transaction. So a transaction need not be paid for. Paid for. So that is a transaction without even a price. That is a speciality with respect to related party transaction. Over to RSG.
Yes, sir. So therefore, the transfer of resources, services, and obligations all will come under the related party transactions. Sometimes what will happen, you would enter the transaction with related parties, and the transactions may also be completed during the year. Say, for example, there are certain loan is given to the related parties, loan is given during the year, and loan is also repaid during the year. Even in such a situations, you are required to report the both loan is given and the loan is repaid. So you cannot take a stand, no, sir, it is being squared up, and therefore there is no necessity to report it. You have to report it. You have to report it. As he
If
rightly
you
pointed out. Yes, sir.
yeah, sorry for the thing. If you look at this, the scope here, they made
Yes.
relationship is first, transaction
Yes.
next, identify outstanding balance.
Yes.
Outstanding. So relation transactions, outstanding balance, including
Correct.
commitments. So that means
Correct.
even closing balance. Sometimes closing
Correct.
balance will be zero. You have to say closing balance is zero.
Correct.
Okay, so quite a very wide, quite very wide. So it is such a such a important standard we cannot ignore. And one thing, if
Yes.
this standard is not complied, from an audit perspective, the auditor has to definitely qualify that Ind AS 24 has not been followed. So therefore, it will have a deterrent also because of in Ind AS non-compliance. Can I say that the accounting financial statements disclose a fair and true view? So I will come to the next part. So it has a lot of ramifications. Over to RSG.
Yes. So therefore, during the transaction, if the transaction is over, even in such a situations, you are required to report it. Sir, I made only investment in subsidiaries. Even that is also is required to be disclosed in the notes on accounts in the financial statements. So therefore, whether it is investment, outstanding balances, and the transaction, all are required to be reported, because once you identify it is a related party transaction, it is on the management, they have to disclose all, and as an auditors, you have to verify whether the disclosure is correct or not based on the test checks. That is very important. Sir,
One
we are
more.
discussing about, yes, sir.
Yeah. So now, since you have mentioned about it, this is one company. This is one. This is one central government company. So the name of the company is Rashtriya Chemicals and Fertilizers Limited. So here I will take you to one Ind AS 24 notes. If you look at this notes here, note number 57, disclosure and Ind AS 24 related party transaction. Please look at the first one. They say relationship.
Relationship.
First relationship. So, Fact RCF Building Products Limited. So, this is a joint control entity. Joint control means both the RCF and the another entity, they will have a joint control. So, Urvarak Videsh Limited, UVL, and Talcher Fertilizers Limited. So, these are the three companies, they have relationships. Now, then please come to the next one. transactions during the year. Come to the next one, balance outstanding. So this is all. So transactions during the year, do you have to give, now I will do 17 transaction, 10 inflow, 7 outflow. It will be there like that. Now whether I have to give in and outflow, should I give the entire ledger statement? No, I will only give the summary. That is given in the next paragraph. Few paragraphs later it is coming. So over to RSG.
Yes, sir. Sir, we talked about accounting standard 24 and we discussed about related party, relative, the transaction and the entity level, person level, all we discussed. Can you once again discuss about the scope of these accounting standards? What is the scope of these accounting standards?
So we came up to the second part. So I was giving you that 4 line. First is relationship, second is transaction, third is the balances with the related party, and most important, fourth is the commitment in the related party. That have to be given, guarantees and commitments. Now here the word commitments includes guarantees. So maybe the para number 2 speaks only about commitments. But if I take you to the disclosure paragraph, especially the 16th para, so the disclosure para comes in the 18th para. Please look at para number 18 here. Look at para number 18. So where it says, so you have to including commitments. So if an entity had a related party transaction during the word, it starts with the word if. Para number 18 is the disclosure para. It shall disclose the nature, information, outstanding balance, including commitments. So there they say at a minimum disclosure shall be, at the last line, at a minimum disclosure shall include, please look at this, amount of transaction, amount of outstanding balance, details of any guarantee given or received. Actually, the word guarantee is not there in the scope, but it is there in the disclosure part. So here the word commitment includes guarantees. So commitment is a very big term. Guarantee is a very specific term. So commitment can be, for example, in case a loan is not repaid, holding a money is a, say it is a builder. They are actually a promoter. So they will say 1,500 square feet of commercial space will be allotted to you in case the subsidiary doesn't pay. So is it a guarantee? No. It is actually a commitment. In case they don't pay, so the commitment is a very wider term. So guarantee is a very specific term where they take the role of a guarantor. And guarantor is only with respect to the transaction. That means A to A. If A is not A received, I receive money. For money to money, I have to pay. So the guarantee will come with money to money. So transaction to transaction. But the commitment is quite a wider term. So that is where this part is there. Now, please look at the scope. I'll give you the interesting part of the scope. So relationships, transactions, outstanding balance, commitments, and look at the C part. Circumstances in which disclosure is required. That's most important. So they will say, that is what I was giving. If there are 17 transactions that has happened, but all the 17 transactions I'll be mentioning, not necessary. So what is the circumstances in which disclosure will be required? Sometimes no transaction will be there, whether disclosure has to be given. So because they only speak about outstanding balance. So there will be in, there will be out. Outstanding balance will be 0. Now 0, 0, 0, 0. Should I have to give all the zeros? So that is where circumstances they mention. So unless enough, please look at this one paragraph which I want to. This is Adani Enterprises. Look at Adani Enterprises. There they say the name of the related parties and description. The first part is related party. What is a relationship? So subsidiary companies are firms. Okay. So it starts with A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 27, 60, 80. Okay. So there are actually 80 subsidiary companies. Step down subsidiaries, meaning subsidiary to a subsidiary. So that step down subsidiary goes for around almost 137 step down. So 80 subsidiaries, 137 step down subsidiaries, level 3. I mean, level 1 is subsidiary, level 2 is step down. Joint control entity. So RCF had the joint control entity. So only joint control entity. But the Adani had subsidiary, step down subsidiary, joint control entity, associate, KMP, key managerial personnel. So now this key managerial personnel, whether they will include, now for example, I want to make one observation: independent director. Now, independent director is a director. He is a related party, but he is not a KMP. So he is not a KMP. So independent director need not be forming part of KMP. I want to make one point very clear. Okay. So normally there won't be any transaction with an independent director. An independent director is a related party, for your information. Okay. So, but should they be KMP? No, they are not a KMP. Independent director is not a KMP, but independent director will be a related party. Now, if you come to the definition part, please look at the definition part of a related party. There they say a related party is a person who is related to the reporting entity, has control of 51%, has significant influence, is a member of the KMP. That's all. So they don't specifically say that whether an independent director will come under these three. Control, he doesn't have a control. Significantly, he is not a shareholder. Is he a member of the KMP? No, because KMP doesn't come under this. KMP is actually defined in Companies Act. Please look at the key managerial personnel. This is the Companies Act. The KMP is there in GHIJK. Look at this. This is 251. CO is a KMP. Company secretary is a KMP. Whole time director is a KMP, not director. CFO is a such other officer as may prescribed. So independent director will not come. Okay, good. So over to
Okay.
that is the scope, guys. So yes, RSG.
So, sir, you have very clearly explained this term. So, the next question is: so we are discussing about the family members and persons. Can you please explain the terms? Uh, who are all the domestic partners? Who are all the domestic partners?
Well, so it's a quite an interesting question, and I'll take you to the related party definition with respect to a person. They say related party in relation to an entity is a person or a close member of that person's family. Now, who's a close member of that person's family? Who's a person? A person who has a control, or a close member who has a control, a person who has significant influence, or a close member who has significant influence, a person who is a member of the KMP, or a close member of the family person who is a member of the KMP. Now, who's a close member of that person's family? That person means this person. So, a person having a 51% and close member. So, for example, a individual R. Subramaniam ji is having 60% shareholder. He's a 60% shareholder. He's a related party. Yes, he has control. Okay. Now, RS as a close member of that family. Now, who's a close member? Please come to this close member. Quite a very interesting definition. Close member of the family of a person are those family members who may be expected to influence or be influenced by that person in dealing with the entity, including, so who may expected that person's children. So a shareholder having 60% shareholding, his child, his son or daughter, his spouse, his wife. Sometimes the individual may be a lady. So then the lady's husband, so spouse, or domestic partner. This is a word which is, I must say, it is the influence of the East, because we have taken the IFRS. We have not adopted IFRS, but we have converged IFRS. Now, while converging IFRS, this word domestic partner is there in IFRS. So in IAS 24, it is there. So same word they have even taken here. I can even show you the IAS 24 also. This is our IAS 24. Now please look at this. So this IAS 24 also has the same paragraph. So this is IAS 24. So here, if you look at the definition, which is in para number 9, this is para number 9. Same wordings will be there. Look at the close members. Here the word domestic partner is that person's children, spouse, or domestic partner. Now, come here. There they have not included brother, sister, father, mother. Okay. Brother, sister, father, mother is not included. But person, children, spouse, domestic partner. Up and side. Who's a children? Below me. Spouse is left hand side. Domestic partner left hand side. Children of the person's spouse. Now, what happened to my brother, sister, father, mother, who's on top of me? It has been left out. That is Desi. That is Desi. That is India. So India says, oh, you have left out brother and sister, father and mother as in IAS. So in Indian accounting standard, they have not left out. Can you say for a brother, sister, father, mother is not a related party? But there they have left out for your kind information. So now this is the definition of a domestic partner, which I have taken from. I'll just show you an interesting Google meaning of this. This is a domestic partner. It's a legalized, recognized relationship between two people who live together and share a domestic life but are not married or joined in a civil union. This is the so RG was very keen on asking what is the technical meaning of domestic partner. So this is the technical meaning of that domestic partner, and they are also a related party. So therefore, if a shareholder is having 60%, he is having a 60% shareholding, he is a related party, and that shareholder's domestic partner, so unwedded wife or unwedded husband, they are also a related party. So this is a quite a very wide, I will say very wide definition. And this is one place I want to bring to your kind attention, the technical difference between Ind AS 24 and AS 18. Ind AS 24 and AS 18, there is a difference. So if you look at this in AS 18, they use a word a relative of an individual. Here they use a word called close member of the family of a person. So spouse, son, daughter, brother, sister, father, and mother who may expected influence. Here they give these three wide definitions. So Ind AS 24 is a wider meaning. AS 18. AS 18 is accounting standard 18. Okay, AS 18, look at AS 18. So that is a related party disclosure. Your generation 1. So this is not India, this is AS 18. So there also you have a definition with respect to relative. Please look at this. So look at definition. Related party. So who is a family member? So relative. So in relation to an individual, spouse, son, daughter, brother, sister, father, mother, who may be expected to influence. Same is being taken and put in Ind AS 24 also. While taking the best of IAS 24, what has been missed out also been taken from the Desi version. So we have the mix of the best of the Indian practices and best of the international practices in Indian accounting standard. So whenever somebody speaks about, okay, IFRS is best or Indian accounting standard is best, I will bet Indian accounting standard is the best standard comparatively. Globally, India's will be the most comparable and the best standard. So over to RSG.
Yes, sir. So you have explained very clearly the domestic partner. Now my question is, who are not the related party? Who are not the related party? Substance of the relationship, not merely in the legal form.
This is very important. See, actually, now only we
Yes.
are going into the subject.
Yes.
Because now I'll go into because they give 8 subcategories with respect to related party. 8 subcategories. So there I will now go into some of the interesting categories. Now, if you look at the meaning, please look at this. Yes, please look at this. So this is an entity related to a reporting entity. So there are 8 types of subcategories. So one by one, I'll try to bring it before you. I just want to share with you some interesting context. Please look at para 10. In considering the related party relationship, substance of the relationship is most important than legal form. Okay, substance is most important. So let me take you some interesting situations here. For example, there are 2 companies who have common directors. So company A Limited, B Limited. A Limited, B Limited both have common director. Okay. So Gopal Krishna Raju is a director in A Limited. Gopal Krishna Raju is director in B Limited. Can you say A Limited and B Limited related party? Related party? No, they are not related party. 2 entities simply because they have a director or a KMP. For example, can one person be a managing director in both the companies? Yes, he can be. The law doesn't stop it. So, in common, or because a member of the KMP of one entity has significant influence over the other entity. So he is a KMP here and he has significant influence. So he has 20% or 25% shareholding here. Can you say both the companies are maybe the individual is a related party, KMP is a related party, since having significant influence is a related party, companies are not related party. So we need to understand the difference between individual related to an entity, entity related to an entity. So there's a lot of difference. Now please look at this. Two joint ventures simply because they share joint control of a joint venture. Two joint venturers. So A has invested in company A. Now, if you look at this particular thing, look at this fact RCF, joint control entity, in which two companies would have invested. A would have invested, B would have, here RCF would have invested in fact RCF. Now, fact is also invested, RCF is also, fact is a company, RCF is a company. Now, whether both are related party, that is what this question is. Two joint ventures simply because they share joint control of a joint venture. So RCF and in fact need not, they are not related party. They are not related party. But RCF is holding joint control of fact RCF Building Products Limited. Though they are related parties, but the joint venturers are not related parties. So quite we need to appreciate the context here. Very, very important context. Similarly, those who are giving finance to the trade unions, those who are giving finance, they are not related party. Trade unions are not related party. Electricity board, telephone department, they give essential services. They are not related party. Similarly, a customer is not a related party. But very important, customer, supplier, franchisee with whom an entity trans significant volume of business. Simply with your economic independence. Actually, this word 20% is not there. Significant means in the entire accounting standard and even in Companies Act, the word 20% is there. So therefore, they don't say that no, 60% business is given by one company, one individual, one partnership firm. So they are related party. No, there can be economic dependence. The concept of economic dependence is different from related party. Please understand. So that is where you have another standard. We have what you call it as the operating segment. There's a concept called operating segment. So there I will say the economic dependence on one particular entity, not a related party. Economic dependence is different. Relationship is different. So now I'll go to RSG.
Yes. So you have very clearly stated that the substance of the form of the transactions is very important. And just because there is a common director or common key management person, that doesn't mean that both are related persons. Correct, sir? We have to go
Correct.
into the substance of the transactions over rather than in a legal forms. Sir, you have also discussed about commitments and guarantees. So can you please explain, mere giving a guarantee to subsidiary company, is it a related party transaction? In most of the cases, what happens? Holding company gives a guarantee. They will give only the guarantee to the bank. There won't be any transactions at all. So it is only a mere executing the bond. That's all. So there is no transaction. There is no consideration is paid between the two entities. So they would have executed the bond and they would have informed to the bank saying that we are giving the guarantee to our subsidiary company. In such a situations, mere giving a guarantee or whether it is a financial guarantee or performance guarantee, whether it is a related party transaction, what do you mean by the commitments? What do you mean by the guarantee? What are all the main difference between these two? You also discussed about it. I need a elaborate discussion on that, sir. Thank you.
RSG first point. A unrelated party may give a guarantee. A
Correct.
related party may give a guarantee. So first I
Yes.
need to be very clear about, so to enter Ind AS 24, first relationship should be there. So
Yes.
for example, providers of finance. I am dealing with Bank of Maharashtra. Bank of Maharashtra is my banker. Now, Bank of Maharashtra is not a related party. So they give me
Correct.
a term loan, they give me a bank OD. They also give me guarantee. They also give me financial guarantee. They give me other things. Now, based on the guarantee, I do business. Now, whether that has to be disclosed, whether they are related party, no. So, first thing I have to be very clear is whether relationship is there. Now, second, now relationship is there. So, there is a company. I'll take a simple example. Holding company subsidiary, because generally this guarantee concept, commitments will come
Between holding.
between only the related parties, because okay, new company I have formed in say in Dubai, I formed a new company. So now some supplier is going to supply. Now I am already an established company in India, so I will give a guarantee, an international guarantee, or my banker will give me a BR, so I will use that BR in the international correspondent bank. So that concept of guarantee, so in case my subsidiary fails to pay, from India I will pay. No. So here I have given a guarantee. So there can be two things: guarantee given, guarantee received. So in my company, so for a subsidiary company, guarantee is received. For the holding company, guarantee is given. Now
Correct.
both are related party. Now please come to this interesting. Now come to BHEL. This is BHEL. Now BHEL, I want to show you the various transactions. So please look at this disclosure as per Ind AS 24, related parties. List of related parties, JV and other related party, KMP. Okay. Now, so they are all chairman, managing director, director or company secretary. Now, come to transactions with them and details of transaction with JV and balances. Please look at this. Okay. Now, I'll come to this breakup, because circumstances, how you will give this transaction, I'll come. Now, disclosure, movement in provisions, liquidated damages, contractual obligation. This is what I want to bring to your kind attention. Very, very important. Because why I took BHEL? Because for this guarantee, there are a lot of contractual obligations. So, like for example, BHEL would have taken a contract. I would have given a contract to somebody. So, there are a lot of contractual obligations. Please look at this. So, what is the opening balance? So, what is the borrowing, additions? So, various adjustments, closing balance. Now, I want to give a clarity on this. Please look at the provision for contractual obligation is made considering the effect of time value of money mentioned under note 2 to meet the warranty obligation as per the terms and conditions of the contract. Now, I'll give you an example. Now, BHEL is a company, they do a lot of contracts. So, they construct various, for example, they'll construct a very big tower. Okay. So, for a power plant, they'll construct a tower. Okay. Now, they'll give an obligation. They would have signed an obligation. So, my contract which I have executed, I will ensure that next 3 years or next 5 years, whatever damages, I'll try to rectify it. Any crack will come. They'll immediately call, crack has come, so change it. So they will go and they have to change it. So they will estimate it. So please look at this. To meet the warranty obligation as per the term. So this is actually a provision for contractual obligation. So future. So what is my future obligation? Probable expected future obligation, which I have to disclose it. So this is the possibility. So this is an obligation, and this obligation I would have made for my related party. I would have made for my related party. So that I have to disclose. So quite important disclosure is this. So I will also bring it to your kind attention with respect to RCF. So look at RCF transactions, balance outstanding, and look at this. Company has given guarantee. Please look at this. So RS was referring about the difference between these two. So one obligation I gave that as a commitment I gave one example. Look at the guarantee. The company has given a guarantee of 2.2 crore for working capital facility from banks on behalf of FRBL. Now FRBL is its joint
One of
venture.
the related parties.
Fact RCFB. So for fact RCFB of FRBL, I given a guarantee. Since such facility has not been availed by that company, no provision to financial guarantee and corresponding asset has been recognized. So it has been given, but I have to disclose. Actually, technically, no transaction. They have not availed. They have a non-repayment, then I have to pay. That and all doesn't happen at all. It's only an agreement that has been signed, but I have to disclose. I have to disclose. So that's special. Now come to this AEF. That is our Adani. In Adani, please look at this is the entities, all only entities. Now come to this transaction. Transaction, I'll come. What are the transaction you have to disclose? I'll come for this. This is the nature of the volume of transactions. Go 18, 19, 20. My God, so big actually. And volume of transactions goes 30, 31, 31. Closing balances. Okay. Let's see how many items it goes. So terms and conditions 45. Then these are the loans given to subsidiary loans to subsidiaries and associate by names. Okay. So how much loan to subsidiaries and associates. So it goes. So very big. So I'll just maybe I'll stop my discussion with only these two aspects. Maybe I'll go for one more aspect which I want to bring it before you. Name of the entity, directors are interested, disclosure as per 186, KMP remuneration. I want to make one observation. Please look at this para number 18A. Look at 18A. Amounts incurred by the entity for the provision of KMP that are provided by separate management entity that should also be disclosed. Now, please look at this AE Adani. So for Adani and also BHEL also I'll show you. Please look at BHEL. Look at this. Transactions managed through separate trust. Okay, for employees. So that's separate entity. That also has to be disclosed, like a BHEL EPF trust. BHEL employee at Trichy, this is Ranipur, Haridwar, this is Chennai. So that is what 18A says. Amounts incurred by an entity for the provision of KMP that are provided by separate management entity shall also be disclosed. That's a separate entity. But that will actually be, there won't be any investment there, but there will be a participation. Like management of BHEL, they will be participating there, their employees will be participating like that. So that is what they call it here. Amounts incurred by the provision of KMP that are provided by separate management entity shall also be disclosed. So that is also given. So this is B because of para number 18A. Only because of para number 18A. I want to make one observation here. Now, please look at this. Details of transaction. What classes of transactions you will give? Now, please come to this para number, look at 19. The disclosure shall be made separately with the examples of transaction. Purchase and sale of goods, purchase and sale of property, services, leases, R&D, license, financing, guarantee, commitments separately, settlement of liability, management contracts. So everything you have to give. This list is only illustrative that are disclosed if they are related. Following are only examples. Now come to this. This is the BHEL. Sale of goods and services, dividend income, royalty income, purchase of goods, amount due to BHEL at the end of the year, amount due from BHEL at the end of the year, provisions for doubtful debts and advance. This is a separate company. Okay, this is a separate subsidiary or associate or joint venture companies. So all those have to have been captured. Details of transaction and joint venture. And for your kind information, these transactions will only be provided in a summary form, in a summary format. Now, please look at this. So, if an entity has a related party transaction, it shall disclose the nature, information about those transactions, outstanding one, including commitment, necessary for user to understand the potential effect. Necessary for users to understand the potential effect of the relationship. So that is why this word only decides that you need not give in the form of a line item. You have to only give it in the form of a summarized item. Okay. So over to RS.
Yes, sir. So you have very clearly, explained how to disclose the transactions with the related party, and whether it is by line item. So, and you have also very clearly explained the examples of certain transaction, whether it is purchase of goods or availing the services. These are all only an illustrating whatever the transactions the company has with the related party, that is required to be disclosed. That's all simply. So whatever the transactions, global actions are illustrated, it is only an example. There may be certain other transaction, maybe a branding services by holding to subsidiary company. It is not there in the list, but it is a transaction between the holding and subsidiary company which are required to be disclosed. Sir,
I want to make one more point. One
yes,
more point. That is, there are government entities. So this is a separate paragraph they have given for government-related entities. Now, I want to bring to your kind attention one para number 4A and 4B. Now look at this para number 4A and 4B. See, this is para 3, para 4. After para 3 and para 4, para 5 should come. But you have para 4A and 4B. Now I'll show you the paragraph of Ind AS 24. Where is Ind AS? This is AS 18. This is Ind AS 24. Now in this, now please look at this is Ind AS, IAS 24. This is your IFRS. Okay. Now here, look at after para 4, you have only para 5. Alright? But in the Indian accounting standard, after para 4, it is not para 5. It is para 4, after that para 4A and 4B, and then only 5 is coming. What is para 5? Related party relation to normal feature. Related relation to normal feature. This is para 5. This is Ind AS 24. This is IAS 24. Okay. So what I said same is coming. Related party is a normal feature. Okay. But what is 4A and 4B? This is carve in. Now, generally, carve in and carve out is very simple. When the Ganapati Chaturthi is there, in Ganapati Chaturthi, the Ganapati Murti will be there. To make the beautiful Ganapati Murti, I will carve out the unwanted the clay, and I carve in related requirement. So, what is carve in? For Munjur, I will keep the eye. That is carve in. For the Ganapati, I will carve in the eyes. Thereby, Ganapati becomes beautiful. Like that, please look at this. In case a statute or a regulator or similar competent authority governing an entity prohibits the entity to disclose certain information which is required to be disclosed, as per disclosure is not warranted. So statute, regulator says don't disclose. So government entity. So now I gave you two examples. What are the two companies? RCF is a government entity. So I want to make a government related entity. Now government related entity is also defined. Now please look at this. This is this is your government related entity. So your government related entity is defined. Actually, in para number 9 itself, it is defined. Look at this. Government related entity is an entity that is controlled, significantly influenced by government. What is a government? Government agencies, similar bodies, whether local, national, or international. So an entity which is controlled. So RCF is a government related entity. BHL is a government related entity. Now, please look at some interesting examples here. A reporting entity is exempted from the disclosure requirement of 18 in relation to related party, including commensurate with the government that has control with the reporting entity. And another entity that is related party because the same government has control of it. So, the meaning, how much central government and state government is having the shareholding, I need not disclose. So, who are the related party? Whether it is the state government or central government, I need not disclose. So, that is where, because they may have more than 20%. So, there are certain exemptions that are being given for government related entity. So, I'm sure today's session was
Yes.
totally a different dimension. We have seen a related party. And I wish to listen to RSG, your final remarks and your observations. Before maybe I'll share some of the observations from the participants also. Many observations are coming from participants. So that also I wish to share it with you. So maybe I will wish other participants also to kindly post your queries or post your observations, your reflections also in the chat box. I'll just post it here. Over to RSG.
Sir, today you have very clearly explained what is, a related party transaction, who are all related parties, accounting standard 24, applicability, that is very important, and exemption also. There are certain exemptions for government related or controlled entities. So that is also you have disclosed. And the relationship with person and the relationship with the entity, that is very important. That also you have disclosed. Very clear is, two chartered accountants from our office also attending today's seminar because they also wanted to learn. There are certain client for which Ind accounting standard is applicable. So therefore, two chartered accountants from our firm, they are also attending. So it is only the disclosure accounting standard. That's very important. It is not, you have to disclose it. That's all. You have to get to the management representation saying that these are all the related party. What is a transaction? You have to disclose both the transaction level and the outstanding level that you have to disclose. So therefore, today, I learned a lot regarding that, in the accounting standard 24 related to, related party transactions. What are all exempted? Very important is substance over legal form. That also you have very clearly explained, and the applicability also you have explained very clearly. Very nice, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your presentation today. Thank you for all the participants today for attending this program, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, friends, and kindly share your feedback in the box, and also share this video to as much friends and your associates as possible, and log in same time every Sunday along with me and RSG for yet another edition of Indian Accounting Standards. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.